I'm joined by Nir Boms from Jerusalem. He's a writer, researcher and commentator on Middle East affairs. Really appreciate you joining us today, Nir. Now, this attack is the most ambitious operation Hamas has ever launched from Gaza. Talk to us about why Hamas launched this attack now.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to speak on behalf of Hamas, but I think one thing we can say is Hamas has been consistent in its attempt to prove that it's a terrorist organization. It has been targeting civilians. It has been doing so ever since he took over the Gaza Strip, when he threw Palestinian officials from rooftops and shot them, and he took power forcibly. And then he shot thousands of missiles at Israeli civilians. And now, I would say, he was able to surprise the Israel and the IDF, and he was able to kill hundreds of Israelis and captured probably close to 150 Israelis, but he butchered them. He took a party of civilians on the beach, and he shot hundreds of Israelis. Hamas has been consistent in this since its inception, and he was able to prove to Israel and to the world that its goal to eliminate Israel and to continue with terrorism is something that we should take seriously, and I guess that's what we should do.
And this attack came a day after the 50th anniversary of the surprise attack by Egypt and Syria in 1973 that started a major Middle East war. Do you think the Hamas leadership planned to point to its significance here? And if so, what message does it send? Is that what Hamas wants? Some sort of regional Middle East war here?
I assume that Hamas and its cronies, Iran and Qatar, that supports Hamas broadly, would have wanted to have a larger Middle East conflagration. Hamas by itself is not strong enough to beat the IDF and to overcome the Israeli Defense Forces, but it thinks that if Hezbollah will join, if elements in Syria will join, again, Iranian proxies, then there is a chance for a stronger potential victory or damage to Israel. Hamas did this wisely, aptly, and this is also why the Israeli response will probably need to be reciprocal.
Well, recriminations have already started in Israel about the failure of its intelligence service to see that it was coming or not see. How will Israeli officials answer to this massive intelligence failure, do you think?
Well, there was a saying here, there's a time to fight and then there's a time to analyze. In 1973, the Israeli society, the military was mobilized. I think what you've seen here is a society that has been very much divided around political matters. Now all the groups that have been engaged in the protest against the government is now engaged in supporting the idea. That's the nature of the Israeli society. You see civic society, you see volunteer activities, you see people who are coming up to replace the soldiers that are absent from work, from schools. And after all of this is said and done, and after the fire is going to put to a stop, then there's probably going to be a commission of inquiry. People will pay the price of, for their mistakes. That's what had happened in 1973. That's, I'm sure, what will happen now. Politically, it may influence the future of the government. But first of all, there is a war to fight.
For a while during the Oslo peace process of the 1990s, the prospect of a two-state solution had real hope. What are the prospects of that now?
They're bleak. The Palestinian Authority is not functioning. There has not been elections there since 2006. Abu Mazen, who is the president of the Palestinian Authority, is hardly able to control Ramallah. There are gangs and armed gangs and militias that are controlling the remaining territories. There is a split between Hamas and the PA. And again, Hamas have taken over, just to remind you listeners, that they've taken power by force, by killing the Palestinian Authority officials that were there to control Gaza. There is no leadership to work with, and Hamas certainly is not a model for a leadership that one can work with in order to control a Palestinian state. Palestinians desperately need leadership that can join the vision of the region, which is a vision of de-escalation, a vision of pragmatism, a vision that attempts to look after the future of the people, the young people in Gaza and elsewhere, who needs a job, who needs prosperity, and for that they need stability, and for that they need to accept their neighbors and not spend all the resources and the millions and trillions of dollars that are coming their way on terrorist groups and elements that will eventually send missiles to shoot civilians, and now create this type of event that probably is going to be devastating for the people of Gaza.
All right, Nir Boms, that's all we have time for. Thank you very much for your really interesting insight, writer, researcher and commentator on Middle East affairs.